So, as we get closer and closer to the proper chapter 1 of this game, there is something that I wanted to mention, and it's actually the core of what Naruto is about. It's love. One second, I'm gonna take a drink of water here. Excuse me. So yeah, it's about love, and the reason I bring it up is because Gaara is probably one of, if not the most impacted characters by love, for better and for worse. And it's a very interesting thing. There was a long time ago, and I don't know which YouTuber this was, but somebody made a video called Naruto It's a Story About Love. And I never watched that video, but I sat there in my seat and I thought to myself, dang, they're so right. Because from chapter 1, that's all Naruto was ever about, is being, well, he wanted to be acknowledged, but he used pranks and things of that nature in order for people to acknowledge him. But in reality, it was just a cry, a child crying to be loved. And Naruto as a whole would go on to explore this concept in various cases, in various characters, and so on and so forth. I mentioned in past live streams that Naruto is, as a series, is about how people act or respond to the presence or the lack of presence of love. You have characters like Naruto, like I already mentioned, who would play pranks to get people to notice him, but again, it was just a cry out for love. And then you have characters like Gaara, where, what was that old saying, excuse me, about a child and villagers? Like, it takes a village to raise a child, something, something, something. Child burns down a village to feel warmth. It would be very, it'd be very impactful if I could remember it correctly. Hang on a moment. It takes a real village to raise a child, something, something, something. Child burns down village to if they don't feel warmth or something. Whatever. That's basically Gaara. Gaara is that old saying given character, and you can tell that this is Kishimoto's intention because the literal writing above his eye, his left eye, means love. And everything that Gaara does is, in a sense, an expression of a warped sense of self-love, where he tries to make himself better by essentially hurting. He tries to make himself feel better by hurting others. I'm glossing over a lot of it, but that's the character writing in a nutshell. And so, going into Shippuden, I always do that. I always go into the wrong shop. Is this the right shop? Yes, it is. Okay. Why do I always do that? I make the same mistake every playthrough. Alright. Anyways. But not anymore. Anyways. And then going into Shippuden, he has, well, not necessarily only Shippuden. He has a massive character arc that you see happen essentially. Part of it happened, the most important part of it happened on screen when he fought Naruto, but his character had dramatically shifted by the next time he was on screen and helped lead. And then Shippuden happened, and he took an even bigger shift. We're gonna get to that in a second. Again, 10-year-old game, I know. But Gaara is such an interesting character to me, because I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. I don't know. As a kid, I always favored heroes and never really cared too much about villains. Even when they got a sad sob story, it was like, I remember seeing Gaara's story on TV for the first time, and it's like, wow, that's so sad. I still don't like this character, but that's so sad. And I think really it was Shippuden. honestly, it was Shippuden that like won me over on this character, but it was the. Okay, we're gonna get into spoiler territory if I keep talking, but he has something to say about Naruto, and like it was at that moment that's like, whoa, Gaara has changed so much. He's not that same kid who's just trying to make himself feel better by hurting others. He's developed so much, and what's interesting about it is that it's such a believable development, but most of it happens off screen. Like, I don't, how do they do that? How do they make this character feel so genuine when, you know, most of his, maybe that's the point, right? Is that, you know, there's just some things that are harder to explain, even when you try to explain it. So the only way they could get it to work is if they took Gaara off screen for a significant period of time and then show a much calmer demeanor. I'm gonna take another swig of water. Something else I wanted to mention, you know, just in case you've been playing this game for as long as I have and never actually looked around. But, you know, there's a handful of pictures of Sakura. I think that's like Ino. I'm looking at this at a very small screen, by the way. I could expand it at any time, but I don't feel like it. And I think like this is like a bunch of images, like low poly images of different Naruto moments. I don't know. That might be. It might not be. I might be grasping at straws there, but I don't know. I found that interesting that I didn't notice that up until now. Anyways, going back into the theme of love and Gaara, and how Naruto as... Oops. Wrong store. First time I made that one. Made that mistake. Going back to the theme of love, I find it really interesting with Naruto because as the years go on and I get a bit older and older, I kind of realize how amazing Naruto is as a story, right? Like, for like 100%, when I was watching this as a kid, I was not thinking very deeply of Naruto's messages as a whole. I came here for the fights, the video games gave me more fights, and I definitely ate it all up. But as I sit down and read it again as a grown man, I kind of realized that, wow, we kind of got an amazing story about love, and nobody talked about it. Nobody talks about that. It's the main center point of most Naruto arcs, love in some capacity, and either love or what a character perceives to be the lack of love they have in their life, and nobody talks about it. Now, I'm not going to be overly, I don't know, critical, for lack of a better term, on how people see things. Honestly, it's very difficult to see a lot of things in the moment. Things get a lot easier to analyze and inspect once you have not only gained experience with it, but how do you say... What? I had two things I wanted to say. Okay, the second one's gonna come to mind. But basically, it takes time to fully chew on whatever... what any kind of media has. It's, well, okay, I don't know how to word this in the nicest way possible, so bear with me as I try to navigate my words on this. But it's one of the reasons why I don't take a lot of reviews at face value. There's a lot of times where I have gotten enjoyment from a game, a movie, something of the sort that was not even in B tier, you know, not in the 70s or even the 60s, but I could see what a person was trying to do, and I respect that they tried to do something different. And it also helps that, you know, the influx of negativity comes in, and I have experience of dealing with a lot of bad media, not bad in terms of like content, bad in terms of execution. So I can see something and go, okay, I can see what you were trying to do, and I respect that, because not a lot of people are trying to do that, right? Oh, I talked about this a long time, and I think the video might still be on the channel, but I don't know. The concept was basically that you shouldn't essentially judge a book by its cover. Just because something is rated low doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is inherently bad. Sometimes someone could just be trying something new for the first time, and like, how do I form the words on this? You know, their execution could need some work. So, excuse me. We're about to come to the most, you know, the Kazekage Rescue arc is kind of the most interesting arc in Naruto, because as much as this arc is about Gaara, it's kind of not. Okay, so time to head back into the adaptation differences. But a lot of the way that Storm 2 plays out isn't exactly how it works out in the manga or the anime. I'm gonna use both of them to bridge a gap here, because my Naruto manga collection is a bit spotty.
No way.
I don't have all the books. For reference, for the Kazekage Rescue arc, it in my collection goes 28, 29, 31. Why'd I do that? I wish I knew.
It's been a long time.
Excuse me.
Naruto Uzumaki.
I don't know. Like, childhood me is a different person, man. Let's see. So, I'm debating talking about like the whole crux of the arc right now, and I think I just want to focus on Gaara. So, even though it's about saving Gaara, Gaara himself is not a huge focal point of the arc. It's a focal point of how much the Hidden Sand Village has come along since the destruction of the Hidden Leaf. For instance, right now Tamari is just chilling in the chilling. You know, she's in the Hidden Leaf. You know, if I remember correctly, the relations between Leaf and Sand got like smoothed over relatively fast when the Sand realized Orochimaru was utilizing them to just get at the Leaf. And so, you know, again, when Gaara saved Lee, all of that stuff was swept under the rug, and now we're cool. But like, you know, are we cool with like you guys walking in my streets? You know, like that there's different levels of acceptance, I guess, for lack of a better term. And even though the Sand Village helped, wait, I'm remembering now, in the Chasing Sasuke arc, Tamari was definitely in the Leaf Village. Alright, never mind. Forget what I was trying to say.
You gotta be kidding. I'm really the only Genin?
But you know, on that note, we can pivot to something else, which I think this arc is very interesting, because, okay, Naruto, in context of what's happening on screen, is devastated that he is the only one that's left behind in his age group, the only Genin. Everyone else is a chunin or above. And, you know, how do I formulate all my words that I'd like to say? Okay, so I'm gonna start this off by saying this is all my speculation of what I've read about what Kishimoto is trying to say about ranks, about, you know, people and hard work and things of that nature. So let me head all of this off by saying hard work is necessary, right? And I believe that through a lot of Naruto, it details that you're not going to get far if you aren't willing to work hard at something. But working hard is a portion of the whole pie. Let me further explain. Dragon Ball is inherently about working hard. With hard work, a low class can surpass an elite. This is how it is in many of its arcs. You know, when Goku fights Vegeta, when Goku fights Frieza, even when Goku fights Cell, because Cell is a culmination of Frieza and Vegeta and Goku and Trunks, but there's a lot more royal bloodline in Cell than there is low class. So technically you can put him in there, but this is a lot of what Dragon Ball centers itself around, that with hard work anybody can do anything. Naruto has concepts of this, it's very similar in a lot of sense, but that's not the heart of the story. The heart of the story is in love. So the reason I tell you this is because this is the first arc of Shippuden. This is the first arc where Naruto gets back. He's so different, he's thinking more, he's this, he's that. This is honestly one of Naruto's weakest performances in the entirety of Naruto. His weakest performance is in the next arc, when he finds Sasuke again, and like, Sasuke basically just dances around them. They can't touch him.
You got it.
Right? Like, that's more or less what happens. But, you know, coming off the hype of a 2-year time skip, and like, you know, going through other shonen, time skips are normally when, like, they're an easy way to hype up people and as to like how a character has grown and stuff like that. I remember in One Piece, Oda did such an amazing job showing how far the Straw Hats has grown, except Chopper, because it just made him less cool. You know, but it was super awesome seeing stuff like Luffy activate Gear Second without going into the pose. I think it was that he activated it in a part of his body. Don't quote me on that, because it's been a long time since I've read One Piece, and that chapter in particular is quite a ways in. But, you know, Dragon Ball, when Goku came back and he was geared up in weighted clothing, original Dragon Ball, right? When he's fighting Piccolo, fighting Piccolo as an 18-year-old specifically, and you know, he was geared up and he's just leaving everyone in the dust. Man, he felt like he grew leaps and bounds. Naruto, on the other hand,
don't get so hung up on rank, Naruto.
Isn't that impressive in comparison to everyone else in this arc. And I feel that was done intentionally, right? It's done intentionally because I think somewhere along, I know for a fact that somewhere along the line people kind of got the wrong message about Naruto. And in a sense, Shippuden, I mentioned this before, and so I'll say it again, acts as a more intentional version of the story. I say intentional because a lot of Naruto's most poignant actions in the original series, part 1 is a lot easier to say, was all on accident. Shippuden is where Naruto has to be more intentional about everything he does. Because now we start getting into more complex situations, stuff that isn't going to be solved by punching people really hard. To be fair, part 1 Naruto's situation didn't get solved because Naruto punched someone really hard. It's actually because he unintentionally talked no jutsu to them and made them realize that, hey, you know, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not right to treat Haku like a mere weapon instead of a person. Maybe strength, true strength, is gained from others, helping others, working with others. And that in particular is a message of the chunin exam. And it's, excuse me, and it's particularly poignant that I mentioned that because now we have about to get Kazekage Gara, and
My jutsu are all works of art. Just in case, I brought my special
easily Gara's best showing is in this game,
sorcery.
which is I don't know. I don't know what to make of that statement, but it's the truth. This is the coolest that Gara has been up to this point in video game form.
The one-tailed Shukaku's host, Gara of the Sand. Show me your...
The most impressive thing I think about the fight is the end of the fight. And this is like one thing that's like, yeah, that, I mean, okay, they kind of show it. Sky Sand defensive wall in this game, but I think it's more poignant in the manga where Gara is like, he is seconds away from falling to the ground and decides, wait a minute, I gotta get the sand out of here. I can't let this fall on the citizens of the hidden sand. I don't know, like 100%, I don't think the fight in the manga is anywhere close to the fight in Ultimate Ninja Storm 2. But it's those little character moments that go a long way in my personal opinion.
Just what I'd expect from the Kazekage of the hidden sand.
That cloak. You're one of the Akatsuki, aren't you?
So the operation failed,
You.
Alright, let's hurry up and settle this.
I will protect this village.
Alright. So, was there anything more I wanted to mention about love? I don't know. Something will probably hit me during the boss fight. You know, as I just said that, something did come to mind, and it was how Gara's... Oh, okay. Sure game. Whatever. It's how Gara's viewpoint changed from original Naruto into... What is happening? What? What is going on? Anyways, it's how Gara's viewpoint has changed so significantly. Gara is famously a character who doesn't work hard, because that's literally his whole gimmick. The sand itself protects him. He doesn't need to do much. He doesn't need to do much in order to beat his opponent. But in trying to become Kazekage, he ends up putting himself through a ringer and potential discrimination in order to benefit the people of the Hidden Sand. Again, it's not a lot, but it's something that ends up speaking volumes to the character and how much he's changed from the chunin exams. And I do think that one of the more interesting aspects about his character is the fact that he doesn't necessarily become the cheeriest guy in the world. He still has his rather... Man, what do I call how Liam O'Brien portrays Gara? Lifeless type voice, for lack of a better term. He's a little monotone, but his viewpoint on people has taken such a significant leap that it's hard not to look at it and go, this guy is completely different from how he used to be. I really appreciate the writing behind Gara, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, Here's another thing that I can say about love and Naruto and its writing for love is how important love is. I think a lot of people don't necessarily. Dude, what the heck is this attack pattern? I've never seen that before. Oh man! But no, getting back on track, Naruto, and I don't think a lot of people really understand how important it is to not only love but to be loved and to treat others with love and respect. It sounds like something that's so small, something that is so minor in the grand scheme of things, but it really can be that deciding factor of whether or not a person. I gotta choose my words carefully because this could get really intense. You know, if a person likes themselves,
Not bad.
if anything, that could be the major takeaway from Gaara. You know, blind hate, discrimination, all these things cause so much of a rift in a person that they
Close.
don't see people as people. Shoot, man. Oh, wow. Dang. Okay. I'm learning a bit about the not only the Kazekage Rescue arc, but the chunin exams as a whole, and how Gaara views people and how people view Gaara. So what I'm getting right now is that people devalue Gaara, and so that devaluation that he felt, he brought onto others. What's it do unto others as you would want them to do unto you? That's an old saying that has stuck with me for years now, and dude, I'm a little shocked I was able to apply that to Naruto. That's some revelation right there. But no, okay, so I don't want to necessarily go too deep into this right now about the whole devaluing others topic, but it will definitely become more important when Sasori is on the screen. And this might be something you realize, something that you might not have realized, and if you didn't realize it, it might be because you played Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 and didn't watch the anime or read the manga. Because a lot of Sasori's character and the importance around it and what he does is lost in translation, in this game specifically.
Incredible! What a huge shield!
One day, I'd like to become something precious to others too. And not as some weapon of terror, but as Kazekage.
Blocking that is amazing.
Stand, prison!
I apologize that I'm not saying a whole lot right now. I'm just stewing on some concepts in my
Guess I'll
head.
back off for now.
I think that above everything, Gaara's decision to become Kazekage is a very interesting. I mentioned this again in a live stream in the past, but it's still a very prominent point that Gaara decided to give something to people who weren't very deserving of it, to be quite honest. But it, like, you know, do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. So in Gaara's case, initially he was treated poorly, he was maligned. I think I'm using that word correctly. I don't know, but you know, he was done a lot of bad things to, and so he did bad things to other people. But when he wanted something good to happen to him, he started treating others better.
Is it over then?
Ain't that something?
I would say not. That was pretty close.
He took that, and he's still...
But, in the end, the victory's mine.
No!
Man, that took some doing, mixing detonating clay and sand in a gourd. He wasn't giving me any openings either. You're as tough as I figured, Kazekage. All right, now I'm gonna take you someplace fun.